Hannah from Made with Many Baby and Me sessions, and this is a short little video to give you some ideas on how to create a really supportive and inviting sensory floor space for important developmental movement play for your little ones. This is kind of pitched at babies from maybe a few months old up until just before they're crawling, so when they're really able to enjoy a little bit of free play movement on the floor. They're exploring their limbs and their senses. Then maybe they're on their backs, maybe they're exploring rolling, maybe they're getting onto tummies and beginning some pre-crawling moves. But they're not quite at that stage where they're up and at 'em and off. So we're just going to give you a few really simple tips, and none of it's rocket science, but I'm going to give you a few simple tips and let you know why that's really important for the babies from their point of view and how it supports their movement play. The floor is obviously a lovely space to encourage safe play, given that it's free from hazards, free from objects, not near too many plug holes, all that kind of thing that I'm sure you're used to. And this is a simple rug. So a rug, a little bit of carpeting always just makes it a little bit more inviting to be on the floor. That's the same for any of us, isn't it? So I would always put on an additional floor covering. This is just a nice bit of fleece. You'll have your own blankets and different colours and different patterns and designs. I quite like the white. It kind of clears the space a little bit visually, and then you can choose to curate almost like a little art installation any other colours and objects that you would like to put in. I like to add a little bit of texture. This one, don't know if you can see, it's got little bubbles on it, so it's got a little bit of texture. So this is lovely and soft and fleecy, and this one just adds another little bit of texture, which is all nice and welcome when you're close up and small and exploring this on the floor. So this gives a little bit of tactile sensation and input for those fine nerve endings at the toes and the feet and the skin level. So we could put some texture on there as well. What else shall we add on? This is a lovely space, obviously, we're creating for being on the floor, for lying on their backs, for rolling, for reaching, for wriggling, for pushing. And all of this lovely play on the floor gives feedback through movement and sensation of our limbs in contact with the different surfaces and the different textures, and we can begin to sense our weight and our internal body map as well. The floor is a wonderful play space for really important development for children. So we've got a couple of textures there, some nice plain white colours, and often if you've got little ones, they'd be lying on their backs at first, so they might be googling up at us, their arms and legs might be wriggling and jiggling a little bit, so they are beginning to seek control and identification of where the limbs are. So often it's nice to have something visual to play with above them. We did this before in the Baby and Me sessions. You might have a nice kind of thin voile fabric that is nice also to layer up as another texture and as something visible for the eyes to help focus and play under, so that works really well as another layer on the floor. Voile fabrics also work really well to waft above and to wriggle. So if you have your little one laying down there, all of this movement encourages their movement, and you will often notice they're tracking it with their eyes, they're wriggling their arms and their legs in positive response, maybe to try and reach it, to track it, to feel it. And it's nice and gentle as it strokes down the body as well, so the surface of the skin feeding back to the brain about where the body is and integrating the senses with what they're seeing. It's a really good prop for doing that, and they can do it for ages and ages. So you can drape it, you can waft it, you might do a little bit of armography over the top, you can make different noises with it, you can throw it. The great thing is it's so gentle and it's so soft, it's really not going to hurt. And things like these obviously are see-through, So it helps with our emotional regulation, that we can see that you're still there. We can see that you're playing with us, and if you smile, that encourages us to know that this is fun, safe play. So I recommend a lovely bright coloured foil that you can play with. So again, that could layer up once you've had a go on that. That can layer up on the floor. It is a little bit slippier, but that's all good, so long as you've got the foundation of some sturdier, softer fabrics, that would be good. You might have some smaller ones for playing over the top. Could be a different colour. Again, you can encourage movement, tracking, reaching. Sometimes it might encourage rolling and wriggling if you're doing it over one side, and if they're particularly interested in it. They're also lovely to throw and land into the space. So you can add some colour and some interest then in the space above your little one. Give them a little bit of a mini performance. So you're filling the space above them, which encourages their eyes to focus and to track, sensory integration, and lots of the more movement they do, although it appears completely random at first, they are beginning to practice knowing where their body parts are and how to control them. So that's some props that you can do in the air whilst they're on their back. What else could we add to it? There's also this one as well. A lycra or a reflective fabric, like the foils we used in the sessions. The foils are great. This can be used in two ways. Again, you can have it above your little one. You can do a little bit of peep-o with this one, because this isn't see-through, so they might need to check in with you. But obviously it reflects the light and is a very inviting surface to watch, and sometimes little ones really enjoy kicking it with their feet down here, so they might make it move with their feet or with their hands. So it's another lovely one to waft over the top and to reflect the light with. And again, you're curating a very small little space where you're just having an event which is about, this is really good, I'm here with you, this is interesting, this is fun, this is important, whilst they're making those brain-body connections through all those lovely wriggles and moves that they're doing, and helping support their emotional regulation because you're there doing it with them. And a foil or a reflective fabric, of course, can work really well on the floor. Now, you might not want to put all of these on the floor at once. I always start with a couple of white ones. Let's put these over to the side. They can be of interest over there. I do like to offer a reflective thing, a nice shiny thing, whether it's the foil or whether it's the lycra. This isn't the foil. If it were the foil, it also has a lovely crunchy sound to it as well. So it's another sense that they will be stimulating through the movement play. So if they do roll onto this, or if they do kick or touch the foil with their hands or their feet, there's some more sounds and sensory development that's happening there. So they're thinking, oh, that happens when I do this move. So anything that encourages a different sound or a different texture encourages, again, that sensory integration. So we're encouraging the senses to work together. I mean, they never work separately. You see something, you touch it. You feel something, it moves. So we're developing ourselves as these small mammalian humans through movement, through interaction with our environment, and through our natural biological programming to explore our environment through movement. And if they're really little, they're just exploring being in gravity as well. So coming out of that watery environment. What else could we add into this as well? Let's have a little look in here. We could add some obstacles as well, because this is very flat. So we could add in, I'll put maybe, this is a nice contrasting pattern here. So you can add in, obviously you'll have these at home, cushions. So you can add in cushions to create a little bit of landscape, if you will. You can have them visibly, so you can see them on top. So that just gives a different surface. It gives a different angle for the eyes and the body to explore. And they're just around the space in which they're playing and exploring. So they might touch it with their foot or their hand or their back. And also I tend to like to hide some of the obstacles as well. So you can hide a little cushion there, you can hide some smaller things under there, so a little bit of a discovery, an invitation. But you're trying to create a kind of a small landscape of shapes and spaces. I would make sure, watching them, that you don't limit too much of their rolling. If they're going to roll and one of these is in the way, I'd move it a little bit away. It's nice to have it there as a soft space to land, but give enough space so that they can also explore the full range of movements themselves. If you see them getting a bit stuck, just maybe clear the space. Don't feel obliged to help them out of it. They'll figure it out. Just give them your attention, and they'll find a way to problem solve it, I'm sure. So we don't need the cushions to necessarily prop them, but they offer another edge of landscape, which if you come across it, you have to rebalance or reorientate and get more sensory information through your toes or your knees or your face. Maybe you landed your face against it. So some little obstacles. This one also, this is quite big. This is a buckwheat cushion. It's a meditation cushion, it's quite big. You might have some of the small buckwheat ones that you heat and put in the microwave. So again, they're a nice little other obstacle. They add another little layer of landscape, and there's a different sensation and there's sound in there. So I might put that over there. I mean, that's quite big for your little ones to necessarily reach up or crawl on, but that might be something useful once they're starting to crawl and starting to push up onto their haunches. That might be a nice little obstacle for them to explore. So this is quite a nice little play space. Let's see what else we could add into it. We've got textures, we've got reflections, we've got some landscape obstacles, some little humps and some bumps with some visuals for the space above us. And there's two other ways we can play with the senses. Add in some simple props on top. Little ones, of course, are really attracted to contrasting colours, so black and white is really good for their visual development. So these are soft balls. One of them has a sound, I think, but these are quite nice to place on top. Again, they're inviting. There might be something that encourages a reach or a roll. They're kind of catching the eye, and again they're quite useful because they're nice and soft. You can have a little bit of gentle body massage with them as well. See how your little one goes. They might love it, they might not, but these are really, really soft, and you can gently roll them up and down, maybe their legs or their back, and it's just giving them a nice little bit of sensory input into their full 3D body. So you'll know if your one likes that or not likes it. We did a little bit of body massage in the Baby and Me sessions. So these soft balls can be used for that as well. And of course they move, as opposed to, say, the cushions. When the little one bumps into this, it will move slightly but safely. So it's a different reaction for the body to learn about and react to in terms of their balance and their coordination. So some nice, maybe monochrome props to add on there. Very good for the eyes and helping our eyes focus. Let's have a little go at two more things. You'll know which things they enjoy the sound of. I like the shaky bells. You'll have a shaky egg. Small shakers. Now these again could be used above your little one, or to help encourage a little bit of rolling or reaching. Very good for eye tracking. Do a bit of shaking and stopping, shaking and stopping, so that repetition. And they may move and respond to that sound, or we did our little shakes and shimmies in the Baby and Me sessions that you'll be familiar with. So stimulating our internal balance. And these are just fun to play with, so you can have a little bit of sound to play with. And some of these, you can get the smallest ones that do go on the baby's feet as well. So it means when they move, they make a sound themselves. Now these ones, they're quite big bells. I may or may not leave these on the floor for them to play with, but you might have more suitable, smaller, shaky eggs that they can find in their floor space and activate. So you can be part of the play or leave it for them to activate it. And I would probably add a little bit of music. I would add a little bit of music to create a nice, welcoming scene, a little play space. And the last ingredient would just be your attention. To be there, be on the floor with them if you can. If you're happy and able to, nothing encourages tummy time like you being on your tummy and some face-to-face blowing bubbles or kisses. So if you're happy to be on the floor, set it up to suit you as well. Set it up with a cushion that works for you, so you can be down on the floor and play and extend your legs and your arms, so that it's a comfortable, inviting space for you to be as well. That sends a really important message to the little one that here we are, this is important play work, we're doing it together, you have my attention, let's enjoy it. And besides, you've set this up now, you're not going to do it in 5 minutes, so you might as well, I'm sure you could spend a whole morning exploring this, stopping for a snack and knowing that you're helping support their physical, emotional, creative development through this lovely shared sensory play space. I always like to add bubbles, so just to finish, I'll put in a little bit of music and add some bubbles into our play space. The little piece of music I'm going to play is from a piece I did called Duvet Dancing, and it's a piece of music from my friend Ben McCabe. Let's add some bubbles left. I'm just missing the baby now. Bubbles add a little bit of magic, a little bit of wonder. Lovely for eye tracking. Thanks for your attention. I hope they've been useful few tips for how to create an inviting sensory movement play space for you and your little one. Try it today. Enjoy. Bye for now.